Maintaining silence or embracing quietness empowers those who are naturally reserved to tap into their profound internal strengths. As Gautama Buddha highlighted, the immense force of silence can eradicate all internal stress, anxiety, and fear, enhancing our perceived intelligence and appeal among others. During a session with his disciples at his ashram, Gautama Buddha conveyed that our tongue is the sharpest judge and our words the deadliest weapon, capable of causing profound harm without physical violence. Words can be a source of strength or a significant vulnerability, depending on our awareness of when, where, what, and how much to express. Utilizing appropriate words at the right moments and with proper intent can lead to success. Conversely, misusing them can disastrously impact our lives. In today's narrative, I aim to demonstrate how silence can transform our existence. This video will help you understand the power of silence. Before we begin, I encourage you to type Namo Buddhaya in the comments and like the video. Let's embark on this story. There was a very famous Buddhist monk in Japan named Risai. Risai lived alone, away from the noise and chaos of the world, in the forest. He was a very meditative and devout person, which is why he was very famous all over Japan. One day, a prince came to Risai and said, "Dear monk, I always feel tired, hopeless, and troubled. My mind is very restless, although I have everything: wealth, fame, comforts that every person desires or wishes to have. But still, why is there so much unrest and anxiety within me?" Risai listened to him very carefully and after thinking for a while said, "You know the answer to this question. You just never tried to solve it." Risai further said, "I want to conduct a research. Will you help me in it? After this research, there will be no unrest or anxiety in your life." Hearing this, the prince was very surprised and said to Risai, "Tell me what I need to do for my peace of mind. I am ready to do anything." Hearing this from the prince, the monk said, "Then you will stay in my ashram for the next 15 days and live your life like an ordinary person. In these 15 days, you will stay alone and silent as much as possible and speak less." The prince agreed to the monk's words. On the first day, the prince felt that his mind was more restless and disturbed than usual. He was having all sorts of thoughts and was feeling uncomfortable living the life of an ordinary person. He wanted to speak, but he remained silent. Not a single word came out of his mouth. He just sat quietly. But by evening, he started feeling an inner peace. This experience was strange for him. He was asking himself why he was feeling so happy inside and why his internal restlessness and anxiety were decreasing. The next day, the prince sat alone and quietly, observing nature. He was experiencing the beauty of plants, flowers, and birds flying in the sky in his life for the first time. He kept watching the beauty of nature all day and feeling its freshness. In this way, 10 days passed, and all his restlessness, turmoil, and stress disappeared. On the 11th day morning, the prince sat in solitude, and within a few minutes, his eyes closed automatically, and he went into deep meditation. He sat there all day with his eyes closed and immersed in deep meditation. No words, no worries. The prince was filled with immense peace and joy from within. After spending the remaining 4 days in deep meditation, the prince appeared before Risai after 15 days and greeted him, saying, "Dear monk, I have found the answer to why there was so much turmoil and anxiety in my mind. I know why my mind was so restless and disturbed." Risai, smiling, asked, "Tell me, what answer did you find?" The prince said, "I used to talk unnecessarily. I wasted my words and energy on others. I used to spend the day talking pointless things with my people and then thinking about them alone, mostly thinking negatively. In this way, I was just wasting my time. Due to excessive talking and negative thinking, my mind became restless and agitated, and because of this, I couldn't do any work properly, which led me to fail in every task. And then these continuous failures made me even more sad and irritable. All these things were destroying my life, but the 15 days spent here were completely different for me. I felt something different here. Now I feel like I am living my life fully, but before this, I was living my life the wrong way. And I also learned that we don't just need to meditate. Meditation happens on its own when we are quiet and silent. During the last few days of meditation, the first thing I learned is that the most important thing in a person's life is to know oneself. Hearing this, Risai said, "Not only you, but most people in the world talk more than necessary. Even today, people mostly speak only to belittle each other. Some people, even without wanting to, engage in conversations and waste their lives." Risai, while explaining the importance of silence to the prince, said, "Once, Gautam Buddha's disciples asked him, 'Dear Buddha, why are you mostly silent?' Buddha replied, 'Because by being silent, a person experiences the depths of infinite peace. Silence is the first step to delve within oneself. Without silence, it is impossible to know oneself. The first rule of understanding and knowing oneself is to become silent. Speak only as much as is absolutely necessary. Stop engaging in pointless talk. Suddenly, you will find that more than 90% of people waste their time speaking unnecessarily. There is no harm in not speaking, but if you talk too much, you make excessive mistakes. If people start speaking less, 90% of the world's problems would reduce. Quarrels and chaos would lessen. If people learn to be a bit silent, many of the world's problems, which arise solely from speaking, would be resolved. The whole point is to learn silence. When you do not speak, you are alone in solitude, even in a crowded market. One who knows the art of silence learns the art of being alone in a crowd. In solitude, a person is in heaven. The presence of others only creates restlessness. First, you must embrace the power of staying silent. This will save most of your energy, and then you will reach a state where you start speaking less. If you are going somewhere and get disturbed, it's better to close your eyes and lose yourself. You will feel refreshed because the source of life is within you, not in others. After this, the prince asked Risai, "Who will take us within ourselves?" Hearing this, Risai Buddha said, "You must descend within yourself, and from there you will enjoy the supreme state of life. Joy is born from there. You will be submerged in death from there. Your sun will rise from there, and it will set from there. Keep doing this repeatedly. Whenever you return from this state, you will find a new, refreshed life and a new strength. Your fatigue, sadness, and worries will vanish, just like how a person feels cool and calm after a bath. Similarly, when someone comes back purified from within, bathed in silence, the whole existence, the whole personality becomes calm and silent, joyous. When you reach the pinnacle of internal silence, you will find that even speaking does not break your silence. It remains intact. An inner thread of silence continuously flows within you. You may speak, use words, but they do not disrupt your silence. Once you are stable in deep silence, sweetness will come into your speech. Your words will be full of music and truth. When you speak, others will also feel a coolness. As soon as you become silent within, you become so powerful that you start shedding societal dependencies, and a playfulness enters your life, which is only present in the lives of madmen. A new glow appears on your face, your eyes become like nectar, and you start sinking into the ocean of infinite peace. Saying this, the monk Risai finished his talk and went into silence. The prince thanked him and returned to his palace. Friends, you too must have experienced that speaking too much makes the mind restless, losing control over it and our focus. People who talk a lot cannot concentrate on any one task. They cannot fully focus on any of their goals. If our mind is not concentrated in one place, we cannot understand life and will never achieve desired success. Additionally, you must have seen that people who talk a lot often become the butt of jokes among others, while those who speak less and stick to their words are respected. People listen to them and trust them. People who talk more than necessary and are not sure about their thoughts have an unstable and disturbed mind, filled with noise. A person with a calm mind cannot succeed in anything because they cannot focus on any task. If a person knows when, where, and what to speak, then indeed that person is very intelligent. Such a person becomes the center of attraction wherever they go and is successful in whatever they do. If we closely observe the personality of a great and successful person, we find that they speak less and conclude their points in the fewest words possible. They think deeply about the things and the subject they are going to speak about before speaking. However, people who talk a lot often lie and keep polluting others' minds and thoughts with their words. They mostly engage in speaking ill of others, so even their own people start disliking them and try to avoid them. All disciples took vows as per their ability, big or small, and informed their guru before leaving. But the disciple who wanted to stand out as different and significant went straight to the guru's hut and said, "I don't want to take a trivial vow. I want to take a grand and significant vow like you. Please tell me what vow I should take." Hearing this, the guru smiled and asked, "Will you be able to fulfill the vow given by me? It might not be possible for you. You might not be able to complete it, so find a vow for yourself." The disciple said, "No, Guruji. I will definitely fulfill whatever vow you give me." The guru said, "Fine, then you will remain silent for the next month. Do not utter a single word. This is your vow." The disciple said, "Guruji, is this even a vow? It's very easy. I just have to remain silent for a month. Please give me a bigger vow that befits my abilities and poses a challenge." The guru said, "First, show me that you can fulfill this vow." The disciple agreed and became silent immediately, turning around and leaving the hut. Silence seemed easy to him, and he managed to stay silent for a day. But from the second day, the burden of not speaking started to weigh on him. By the third day, he felt heaviness, and by the fourth day, he started feeling restless because all other disciples were talking, and he also wanted to present his views and silence them. But his vow was in the way. So he spent the whole day just making faces and gestures. A few more days passed like this, and the disciple fell ill. His head was splitting, and he didn't even feel like eating. He just wanted to speak. He went to the guru and wrote to him, "Guruji, I want to speak. I'm suffocating without speaking. I'm going mad inside. What should I do? Should I break my vow?" Reading this, the guru smiled and said, "Vows are meant to be broken, but one who completes their vow enhances their inner strength, and one who boosts their inner strength progresses on the path of societal awakening and enlightenment. It was in your hands to take the vow and also to break it. Many of your brothers have broken their vows and returned to their old routines. If you can't do it, you can also break your vow and return to your old routine. But remember, if you can't handle this small vow, how will you manage your entire life? The decision is entirely in your hands." The guru's words struck the disciple's heart. He left without saying anything, locked himself in his hut, and came out only for essential tasks, spending the rest of the time inside. 15 days had passed, and almost all disciples had broken their vows, but his was still ongoing. The entire ashram was surprised that such a talkative person had become silent. After 15 days, he again went to his guru and wrote, "Guruji, I am silent outside, but inside there are many voices, screams, complaints, and I keep talking inside. My mind keeps asking various questions. As much as I am silent outside, I am filled with noise inside. Is my vow still ongoing in this way?" The guru said, "Yes, your vow is still ongoing, but as long as these voices keep echoing in your ears, your mind will keep speaking. It's habitual to speak. You may remain silent externally, but you will keep speaking internally. You will have to distance yourself from these voices." The disciple paid respects to the guru and left. At dawn, he left his hut and headed towards the forest. Many days passed, and the time for his vow was also completed, but the disciple did not return. Everyone in the ashram feared that wild animals might have eaten him. A lot of effort was made to find him, but he was nowhere to be found. All the guru's brothers had accepted that wild animals had preyed on him, but the guru didn't think so. One day, another disciple came to the guru and asked, "Guruji, what might have happened to our talkative brother? Did an animal kill him?" The guru said, It's possible that animals might have preyed on him, but there could be another reason for his not returning. Maybe he found what he went for. Then the disciple asked, "Guruji, is speaking too much so harmful?" The Guru said, "One of the many sorrows in a person's life is that they can never remain silent and always keep speaking. More than half of our sorrows are created by our speaking. Most family conflicts are due to our meaningless talk. None of us want to remain silent. We just want to tell the person in front of us whatever is on our mind and implant it in their mind, convincing them that they are wrong and we are right. In this way, everyone is accepting each other's rotten words. This process of listening and telling continues throughout life, but in this ignorance, we lose our time, our life, our understanding, and most importantly, the precious moments that could be lived, experienced, and in which joy could be found. But in return, what do we get? Nothing. Everything is wasted and ruined in this madness. Only a few people realize what they have lost. Others don't even know about their arrival and departure." The disciple asked, "Then what is the solution?" The Guru said, "Observing your thoughts with complete awareness is the only way. Reflecting while being present in the moment, working with complete awareness, brings miraculous changes in life." After getting answers to his questions from the Guru, the disciple paid respects and left. 3 months had passed since he left the ashram, but there was no news of him. By then, all the Guru's brothers had also given up hope of his return, but one day he returned to the ashram. Seeing him, everyone was surprised and overjoyed, but he was no longer the person who had left from here. He had returned, transformed into something else. One could sense a remarkable change within him. There was an extraordinary calmness on his face and a peace in his eyes. As soon as he arrived at the ashram, all the fellow disciples surrounded him and started talking. He too began conversing with his fellow disciples. Everyone who spoke with him realized that he was no longer as impulsive and talkative as before. Every word he spoke now was well thought out and uttered with sweetness. After talking with his fellow disciples for a while, he went straight to his Guru, touched his feet and asked, "Gurudev, am I still silent? Is my vow still ongoing?" The Guru looked into the disciple's eyes attentively for a while and said, "Yes, you are still silent. Not a single word is coming out of your mouth, and your vow is still ongoing." The disciple said, "Gurudev, when I left the ashram, I was silent with my mouth, but inside, there were many voices, many questions in my mind, and they were not stopping. So I went into the forest, hoping to find peace and reduce the chatter in my mind. But the more I sought solitude, the louder the inner voices became. I began to hear even the oldest voices within me. That's when I realized how wrong I was and when I used to speak ill of my family, friends, and fellow disciples. I thought I was right when I gossiped about other disciples and mocked them, thinking I was better and right. But that day, for the first time, I realized how wrong I had been speaking. For many days, these voices, these complaints continued inside me, but gradually, one day, they all ceased. Now, I became silent inside too. In that dense forest, there was no one to speak outside, and inside, there were no voices left. And that day, for the first time, I understood the true meaning of silence. There was so much peace around me, although there were still some sounds that used to be there before, but I couldn't hear them. Now I could clearly hear the sound of the wind, the chirping of birds, and the flow of water. I had never felt such peace around me before. To break this peace, for the first time, I uttered a word. I shouted, "Oh God, what kind of peace is this? Why is everything so quiet? What has happened?" But even after my shouting, the peace was not disturbed. Everything was as quiet as before, outside and inside. Gurudev, I talk to my fellow disciples. I talk to you. I am speaking. I am walking. I am seeing everything. But inside, I am utterly alone, in silence. Even when I am in a crowd, I am alone inside, in silence. Even when I want to make noise within myself, I am still in silence. Now, nothing is obscured from my sight. Nothing is unheard. The Guru said, "As long as we keep speaking outwardly, there will be unrest inside. But the day we turn inward, whatever we utter, we will remain calm." Most of the evils in the world arise because we don't want to be silent. We speak more than necessary. We don't want to listen to others. We want to shut them up, to show them who we are, what we can do, and this becomes the purpose of our lives. All our energy is wasted in unnecessary speaking, and this is how society's lives are filled with sorrows, always trying to be heard, never wanting to listen, understand, and they never learn to be silent because it makes them feel small. All the conflicts in the world are because of our speaking. Therefore, we should speak only as much as necessary, because unnecessary speech is a waste of energy and never allows us to turn inward because it keeps us outwardly focused on what is there outside in this world. But if one wants to turn towards the inner world, one should keep their mouth shut. This is why all the enlightened and self-realized ones have sought solitude, so they don't have to speak much, don't have to listen much. They stayed in solitude and remained peaceful, easily journeying inward. But if one wishes, they can be in solitude and at peace even while living in this world. For this, they need to conserve their energy, which they have been wasting in their needless words until now. Friends, the lesson of this story is that unnecessary speaking is a waste of energy. Excessive and pointless speaking prevents us from turning inward, keeps us bent outward, and those who want to journey inward should keep their mouths shut. I hope you liked this story and learned a lot from it. You can share your thoughts about the story in the comment box below. Namo Buddhaya.